Well, I was in high school and the Vietnam War was going on, and I felt like I needed to go, so I didn't graduate from high school. I quit school in the 11th grade, and I was 17. I joined the Navy. My parents didn't want me to do it, but I talked them into it, and they let me join. And went through boot camp in San Diego, California. Flew to San Diego. Spent, I think it's 8 weeks there. When I got out of boot camp, which boot camp was, back then it was kind of, I thought it was tough. And my commanding officer of our little division there, he was kind of rough. You did it his way. Of course, that's the way to be expected. But when I finally got out of boot camp, which it went pretty fast, it wasn't real bad at all. And then once I got used to it, kept doing my own laundry. My mother used to do my laundry, then I had to do my own laundry. And the food wasn't bad, and standing watch at night in boot camp. Then when I got out of boot camp, I went home for a couple of weeks, and I had my orders going to be stationed in Guam aboard the USS AFDM-8. It was a floating dry dock there. We dry docked submarines and different kinds of ships for repairs. And after that, I spent 2 years in Guam, which Guam was a very beautiful place, and I enjoyed that, but I was kind of ready to go home. But I did meet my wife in Guam, and she's from Guam, and we got married, and we came back from Guam in '65, latter part of '65, and I went aboard a destroyer, USS Pritchett, DD 561. On board it for 2 years. I was a damage controlman. I made third class. We did 2 Westpac cruises to Vietnam. When we got to Vietnam, we'd get out on the gun line and fire all day, and in the evenings we'd go into the Da Nang Harbor and spend the night. And that was kind of scary, you know. You didn't know what to expect in there. And then the next morning we'd go back out on the gun line, and they'd tell us where to shoot, and we'd sit there and just shoot all day long. And we did that. My first Westpac cruise, we followed the USS Oriskany, which was an aircraft carrier, to Vietnam, and we plane guarded for it. And coming back, we hit a storm, and you don't want to hit us, you're just like a cork out in the middle of the ocean. People don't realize that those things bob like corks. But it wasn't too bad. We made it back. Then we went back to Vietnam again about 8 months later, and did the thing. We plane guarded, and we came back, and I think there was about 6 months later I got out. I stayed we were stationed in San Diego, the ship was, on port. I got out in '67 and came home, and I stayed in the reserves for 2 years. I'd go to reserve to the reserve building's not there anymore. It was on East Lancaster Road, and they tore it down, and that's where I got my honorable discharge from, was right there. I look back on it, and my wife tried to get me to stay in. I wouldn't do it. I wished I had of, though, but I didn't. So I look back on it, and it was a good experience. I really thought it was something we all needed to do.